Friendship Village, welcome. We're going to do a balance class today, and today's class is going to be a little slower paced maybe than what we've done in the past, because we're going to focus on the mind-brain connection with the feet and the ankles today. So it's going to be a lot of careful work that involves more concentration on what your body is doing and how it's feeling. I recommend doing this without socks or shoes on today. Just be barefoot. If you would rather keep your socks on, that's all right. And then you'll also use like a hand towel or a rag. So if you want to go to your kitchen or your bathroom real quick and get something like that, feel free to do that now. And if you have a massage ball, like a pinky ball or a tennis ball, like we have on the floor there, you can use one of those during class today too. Otherwise, I'll show you and describe to you some other options. So let's get started first with a foot massage, which you can use the ball if you have one, or you can use your own hands or maybe some objects around you. So let's just start with your right foot. If you can, get your right foot up onto your leg. If you can reach down for your foot, you can go ahead and start massaging with your thumbs. So you want to hold around your foot and use your thumbs to massage into the ball mounds of your feet, in between your toes, spreading your toes out, down through the sole of your foot into your heel. And you can do the same thing with the pinky ball, if you have one, or tennis ball, some kind of small, soft ball, not golf ball. I wouldn't recommend something that hard. There's no need to put a ton of pressure through the foot here. We're just waking up that incredible sensory system that is in the foot. So we have 28 bones, 35 joints, 107 ligaments, and 19 muscles in this little area. And each of those ligaments and muscles and joints provide a lot of information and feedback to the brain about where your body is in space. Before I continue on with that fact, I want to mention that you can also put your foot on the coffee table in front of you and kind of run your foot along the edge of your coffee table just to get some sensory input through the foot if grabbing your foot is not available to you today, or if you do not have a ball. Let's switch to the other side if you haven't already. So when we give sensory input to a part of the body, that really helps with motor output. So when the sensory system is sending a lot of information to the brain about that area of the body, we tend to be able to control it and move it better. The brain just has a better map of that area of the body when we give it more sensory input. And again, it doesn't need to be very hard. It doesn't need to be painful. We don't want to go to the point of pain, in fact. But just a little wake-up call for that area of the body. Wiggle the toes around, get in between the toes, the arch of the foot, the edge of the foot. We actually have 4 arches in the feet. 4, right? Or is it 3? I think it's 4. And the very edge of your foot, or the knife edge of your foot, is technically an arch as well. All right, good. Let's get the feet down on the ground, and you'll have the towel underneath your feet here. We're gonna focus on the right foot first. So what I'd like you to do is what's called toe curls. You're gonna lift your toes up and try and curl that towel under your foot using the strength of your toes. So try and pull that towel underneath your foot. You'll feel all the muscles in your toes and maybe in your arch working here. And then see if you can do the opposite of that. Push the towel away, tuck your toes under, and then try and flatten the towel back out. I think that one's much harder. I'm not as skilled at that part. Yep, and then keep alternating between those two. So pull the towel in close, tuck it under. Yeah, you can take that out. It's a little uncomfortable. Pull the towel under, scrunch those toes up, and then push the towel out. Try and get it back out from under the foot.
I'm laughing because I need a pedicure.
I know.
My feet are so dry.
I haven't painted my toes in a long time. Okay, let's also do, you can flatten the towel back out, and we'll do a windshield wiper. Windshield wiper, where you push the towel to your right and push the towel to your left. Now the key with this one, put your hand on your knee. Put your hands on your knee joint and see if you can keep your knee stationary as you get this movement from your lower leg, from your ankle and your foot. Do you feel your muscles burning? My ankle and foot muscles are getting a workout with this one for sure. Now the reason why we're doing this is because your feet and all the information that we get from the feet is a major part of balance. And when we're stiff in the feet and not really connecting to the feet very much, the balance will get worse. So we need to be exercising our feet and moving our feet in order to improve balance. Do your other foot, both those exercises, curling the toes in to pull the towel under. Often it helps to look down at your foot as you do this. And then also pushing the towel back out, trying to get it out from under your foot. And just know that you don't have to do this perfectly in order to be gaining any benefits. So if the towel is barely crunching under your foot, if you're not really getting much, don't worry about it. Just keep practicing. Push the towel out, try and get it out from underneath your foot. Whew, I'm not good at that part. Tough. 1 or 2 more times each way, curl the towel under. Now my big toe wants to take over, so I really try and get the last 2 toes of my foot to help with this curl under. And I really feel the arches of my feet getting some good work here as well. And then push the towel back out, try and press it away from you, out from under the foot. Even if the towel does not move at all, don't worry about it. Your feet are still getting a good workout. All right, let's do the windshield wiper. Bring your foot from side to side, kind of like you're scrubbing the floor with that towel. Hold on to your knee joint. See if you can keep your knee from moving back and forth. Just get your ankle and your foot to move back and forth as best you can. When we are locked up in the foot joints, often we'll see less strength higher up in the body, so less strength at the hips. I don't quite understand it all, but there is something about the force that comes through the feet and how the feet react to it that really affects the rest of the body. So being strong and also mobile in the feet is really important for the sake of the rest of your body's function as well. Not just balance. All right, good. Let's get the towel and the ball out of the way here. We're going to stand up and do some more work, incorporating the rest of the body, but still focusing on the feet. Bryn is going to demo from the side, and she'll hold on to the chair the entire time. So you can copy her as she does these. I will maybe not use the chair the entire time, just so that you can see the body movement a little better perhaps. If you need to sit down at any point and take a break, that's quite all right. So let's get started. Let's get started either behind your chair, holding on with both hands, or you can copy me with one hand. And we'll bring the feet really close to one another here, and try spreading your toes out on the floor. So see if you can spread your toes out so much so that you can see your carpet or your flooring in between each one of your toes. Yep, spread them out really far. Good, and from here, let's do heel raises, lifting up onto the ball mounds of the feet and onto the toes while they're spread out. Up high and back down. So this might feel a little different than your normal heel raises. When we have the toes spreading out like that, maybe you feel more muscles activate, more muscles helping out. If it causes pain, just adjust your toes, adjust your feet to where you are not feeling any pain. We don't want pain here. Good. All right, and let's do a handful of toe raises, lifting the toes up. I often, when I'm doing this type of work, I will often look down at my feet. I have found that I have better control and activation of my feet if my eyes are connecting with my feet. And I see that often with older adults too, that watching the limb that's working can often help improve the movement. So if it feels comfortable with your balance, to look down at your feet as you lift your toes up, as you come up onto your heels, go ahead and do so. All right, keep your feet narrow. If you feel comfortable bringing your feet all the way together, that's a fine variation. Just be really mindful that that makes it much harder for balance. So you can have a little space between your feet here if that feels better. Again, spread your toes out. Try and see your flooring in between each one of your toes. Good, and you can hold onto the chair with both hands once again as we practice weight shifting. So I'd like you to practice a circle around here. Shift your weight to your right, then forward, across, to your left, and back. So now we're noticing that weight around both feet, feeling it in the ball mounds of the feet, then back on the heels. Circle your body weight the other way around. This movement does not need to be very big. Basically, I'm using the floor to give sensory input to your brain about what your feet are feeling. So we're feeling that pressure throughout the feet. Good. So balance requires 3 different systems. It requires the proprioceptive system, which is what we've been working on with the feet. It also requires the vestibular system, your inner ear balance, and vision. So we're gonna put the feet in a somewhat compromised position. So I'd like you to bring your right foot forward and your left foot back. So we're in a semi-tandem stance. You can separate your feet wider for more stability. The narrower they are, the less stable it'll be. Also, you could keep your feet far apart from each other, forward and backward, or you could bring your heel and toes closer to one another for more challenge, okay? So we're in semi-tandem stance, and oh yeah, if you have a hip replacement, you'll wanna stay in semi-tandem. If you feel comfortable with full tandem, bringing the feet directly in front of each other, that would be safe if you do not have a hip replacement. So, as we're standing here, spreading the toes out, feeling all the weight throughout the feet, we're gonna incorporate some challenge for the vestibular and the visual systems. So hand on the chair, one or both. Let's practice tilting the head a little bit from side to side. And notice what that does in your foot and ankle area, especially. Maybe there's a little bit of wiggling, which is good. That's part of your body's response system to when the balance is challenged. That's called your ankle strategy. Okay, and you could also add on a visual component. Well, first of all, let's try this. Fix your eyes on one thing in front of you and practice turning your head while your eyes stay on that object in front of you. So the eyes stay, but the head turns. Okay, so that's also challenging the vestibular system and the proprioceptive system. But then we could also have the eyes turn with the head to bring in the vision element as well. So the eyes and the head turn from side to side. Let's try that with the other foot forward. Remember your options. Bring your feet as far apart from each other or as close to each other as you feel comfortable for your balance. Spread your toes out, stand tall, and keep breathing as you do these exercises. Sometimes when we're balancing, we hold our breath, so just make sure the air is flowing as you practice this. So we're gonna start out with those head tilts to challenge the vestibular system while we're challenging the proprioceptive system with this compromised foot position. The faster you move your head, the harder it'll be to control your balance. Okay, and from here we can add on the head turn. Keep your eyes forward, turn your head from side to side. And we can add in the visual part of turning the eyes and the head together. Now you may notice one side feels a little more wiggly than the other. And usually we have a hip or a leg that's our stronger side. So that's pretty normal to feel a little more shaky on one side of the body. That might mean that you might want to do the exercises twice on that side of your body. All right, stand normally, wiggle out your legs a little bit here. Let's hold on to the chair with both hands, everyone, and let's do some ankle circles here. Just bringing some more movement and awareness to that area of the body. Circle your ankle the other way around. If you would feel more comfortable sitting down to do this, that's all right, you can take a seat. Let's do the other foot. Also, you're standing on one leg for a little while you do this, so throwing that in there for you. A little single leg balance, secretly. And circle the other way around. Good. Let's do feet together one more time. So feet either 2 inches apart from each other or however wide you need them to be, or you could bring the feet all the way together. And you can hold on to the back of the chair with both hands or one hand. Stand tall, tighten up your tummy, lift your chest up, and drop your shoulders. Good, and let's challenge the vision and vestibular system here. I'd like you to turn your head to the right and turn your eyes to the left. It's kind of tough to do. And then come back to center, take a moment, and then do the other way. So the eyes go one way as the head goes the other way. This is a little brain exercise too, because your eyes will want to follow your head. You may notice a little wiggly feeling through the feet. Just use the chair or your walker, whatever stable thing you have in front of you, as much as you need to help with your balance here. This is a little exercise for my eyeballs too, like I can feel that part working. Okay, nice work. Let's do some weight shifts next. I really like practicing weight shifting because it helps us with our gait. It helps us walk better. So let's start out first with side-to-side weight shifts, just to notice that difference of weight between the feet. Stand with your feet about shoulder width distance apart. And we're gonna gently shift the weight from side to side. Holding onto the chair with one or both hands. Very important while we balance to constantly remind ourselves to stand tall. It is very much correlated. When posture is poor, we tend to see more falls. So it doesn't necessarily mean that your spine has to be straight, but stand as straight as your spine can be while you do your exercise and while you balance. Now with your weight shift from side to side, be careful that you're not just leaning your shoulders. Your hips and your shoulders travel over one foot and then they travel over to the other foot. Good. Let's add on a head turn with some eye movement here. So as you shift your weight to your right, I'd like you to turn your head and look to your left. Yeah. Especially because we're doing opposites too.
It's like this way.
If this feels like too much, you can always stick to just keeping your gaze forward and doing that weight shift. Or you could keep your eyes forward as you just turn your head. Do you feel the muscles in your hips work a little bit? I did a little workout yesterday, so I'm feeling it a lot in my hips. Good. All right, wiggle that out a little bit. Let's do some diagonal weight shifting too. So often when we have a trip or a fall, the feet kind of go wherever. It's not really like we're gonna fall straight forward or straight back usually. There's a little bit of feet going every which way. So let's practice a diagonal weight shift. Step your right foot diagonally out to the right and practice shifting toward that foot and then back to neutral. Okay, so we're controlling that momentum, controlling that body weight. What you could do to make this more challenging is as you shift your weight forward or diagonally, look downward. And as you shift your weight back to neutral, bring your head back to neutral. Be very mindful of how much movement you do with your head. Looking down can be deceivingly difficult for the balance. So be sure to use your chair as much as you need to. And let's switch to the other leg. Diagonal step. Remember, I'm demoing in a way where you can see my body do these movements. But if you want the chair directly in front of you, like how Bryn has it, you can absolutely do those variations. Okay, remember your options to make this more difficult. You can do a head movement and eye movement. I recommend looking slightly down and then back up to neutral. And this is kind of like a motion that we do in real life. Pretend like you drop something on the floor. You would shift your weight to that foot and look down to go and get that item. So this is balance for everyday life. Okay, and let's do forward and backward weight shifts as well. So we'll switch to the right foot forward, straight out in front of you, as though you were going to walk. Now this is where we really start to work on the balance that we want for walking, for improving your gait. You can take the pace slower if you would like to feel more control with your balance here. You can slow it down. Be mindful that your knees stay basically straight here. Sometimes it's tempting in a weight shift to bend the knee, but we don't want to walk this way. We want to walk nice and tall and upright. Let's switch to the other foot and just practice that forward and backward weight shift. If you have noticed changes with the way that you walk, these are really basic exercises that can help your body build up some more balance and strength to help you bring a little more normalcy back to your gait. And remember to breathe while you're practicing these. Remember to use your chair for support as much as you need to. Okay, let's do a couple rounds of heel-toe raises. Lift your toes up so you're on your heels. Spread your toes out as you set your toes back down, and then lift your heels up. So we're really intentionally spreading the toes out. Yep, keep alternating between those two. Be mindful that you're not rocking your body forward and backward to get momentum here. Move slowly and think about rising straight up toward the ceiling, and then your toes lift straight up toward the ceiling as well. Good. All right, so now we're going to do those weight shifts again, but we're going to do a step with it, which will be more challenging for the balance. So if you'd rather keep your feet stationary and practice those weight shifts again, just with the feet where they are, that's fine. Otherwise, we're going to start out with the feet together. We'll do a step to the right and a weight shift to the right foot, and then a step back inward. Step to the right, weight shift, and back in. Step, back in. Now you have an option. When you step back in, you could hover the foot and do a little single leg balance there. So it's a weight shift to the right foot and then a weight shift to the left foot, just with a little lift of the leg if you want that single leg balance. Good. Now what we could do here as well is a head turn as we do that step. So as you step to the right, you could turn and look to the left. Back to center, turn and look. Keep going with that exercise. I don't know why calm music is playing, but I'm gonna change it real quick if I can. Bryn will keep demoing that step. There we go. All right, and let's do that with the left foot now. Left foot steps out to the side, shift the weight there, and back in. Weight shift, back in. So remember, when you step back in, toe can tap or leg can lift up for more challenge. Check in with your posture. I think for balance work, like I said, I often will look down at my feet just to make sure that, you know, I'm connecting to them and that they're working properly. But I look down at my feet by using my neck, and I do it just for a moment rather than rounding my body down to look down. So if you need to look down for a moment, that's fine. Just make sure that you're not rounding your whole body forward to do so. And that head turn like Bryn is showing, you can turn your head away from your step. Good. Okay, for the sake of time, we're gonna move on to some marching. I'd like you to hold on to the back of your chair with both hands for this one. And we're gonna do high knee lifts. Maybe your knee taps the back of your chair. Or if that is too much height for your body today, just get your foot off the floor. A little bit of lift. If that feels too challenging for your balance, you could keep your toes on the floor and just alternate a heel lift, shifting your weight from side to side a little. Good. Let's add on some head turns here. So as you march in place, keep your eyes forward in front of you, but turn your head slightly from side to side. Like we were practicing before, the eyes stay stationary as the head turns from side to side. For more challenge from there, you could turn your head and your eyes from side to side, or you could practice that opposite eye turn where your head goes to the left, but your eyes go to the right. Now, if you tend to get dizzy, be really careful with how quickly you move your head. You might want to take a pause before you switch sides. Okay, take a little break from that. Now we're going to do, I don't even know what I call it. I call this the step hold, which isn't really that catchy of a name. But basically, you step your feet and then you hold the leg up. So it looks like this. We're going to step the right foot down, left foot down, right foot and hold. Pause here, rely on the chair as much as you would like, and we'll go again. Step, step, and hold. Now you're on the opposite leg. Balance there. Find one thing in front of you to gaze at as you balance. Keep going at your own pace. Step, step, step and hold. If when you're holding, you would like to add on an arm movement, you could take the same hand that you're balancing on and move that out and back in. Step, step, step and hold. The same leg you're balancing on, that hand can go out to the side and back in. You could do the same thing with head tilts, head turns, just adding on some movement to make it a little more challenging when you need to. I think head tilts are one of the more difficult variations, just because it moves that inner ear fluid around quite a bit. One more time. And set your feet down. Let's do some hula hoop circles here, just to stretch out the hips. The last exercise we will do here today are reaches. If you remember in the mobility review, we have a reaching test. When we have our center of gravity here, or rather base of support here, when we bring the center of gravity away from base of support, meaning we lean or we reach, that's much more difficult for balance. So when you reach for an object, you might notice that you have to put your hand on something stable in order to reach for it. So today we're going to practice reaching with less of a grip on a stable surface. I'll continue to demo somewhat sideways. So you want your feet about hip width distance apart. If you need more space, more stability, that's fine. If you want more challenge, you could bring your feet a bit narrower. So let's practice reaching out to the right first. You can keep your left hand on the chair, reach out to your right as far as you can, come back in, and then let's go to the left. Reach and back in. I'll turn and face you so your hand can be on the chair as you reach out to the side. Yep. So as your hand reaches out, your body will want to counterbalance with the hips, sending the hips in the opposite direction of the hand. Yep. One more time each way. Good. Let's also reach straight forward out over your chair or over your walker. Bow forward and reach. Back up tall, switch hands. You can hold onto the chair as you reach with one hand. Again, the hips counteract this reach and all this weight in your upper body that's going forward. Your hips will have to go back a little bit to help you maintain your balance. Good. One more on each arm. We're actually getting a lot of hip strengthening work here too. Take a little break. Let's go across the body now. So a little twist, a little rotation. Bring your arm across your body and reach as far as you feel comfortable. Come back to center and do that to the other side, keeping a hand on the chair as you do this exercise, like Bryn is demoing. And remember, the closer your feet are to each other, the more challenging it'll probably be. So you can adjust your feet wherever they need to be for you to find stability while also pushing the limits where you feel like you're getting a little challenge at the same time. All right, wonderful. Let's sit down for a moment and just do a quick little stretch or a little range of motion for the feet again. Lean back in your chair, lift your feet up, and let's do ankle circles with both feet. Now I'd like you to watch your feet as they move. Getting that big circle. Notice if your body wants to move at the hips or at the knees to get this circle. See if you can keep that area of your body still and just move at the ankle. Circle the other way around. Often this is the less natural way, the way that feels a little more limited. Notice if there's one foot that feels a little more limited than the other. See if you can bring your eyes to that foot and help it move with a little more motion. Keep your feet up, or you can have your heels on the ground if your legs would like a break. And we're going to practice spreading the toes out as wide as possible and then scrunching the toes up, pulling them in close. Spread them out wide and pull them in close together. Keep doing that. Good, and you could also practice pushing your pinky toe down and then waving the rest of the toes down with it. So pinky toes down, wave the rest of the toes down, then lift your big toes up and pull the rest of the toes up, one by one if you can. That's really tough to do, so just keep practicing, moving the pinky toes down, then the rest of the toes down, and then lifting the big toes up, and then the rest of the toes back up. And then once you have that way down, you could reverse it. Put your big toe down and then wave the rest of your toes down, and then lift your pinky toes up and then wave the rest of your toes up. I haven't practiced that one as much, so I'm not very skilled at that one. I can't demo it very well. But again, remember, it's not about doing the movement perfectly. It's more important that you are very intentionally connecting to your feet and trying to move your feet around in a particular way. All right, nice. Thank you, and thanks for demoing. Yeah, I hope your legs feel really active and good, and your feet feel maybe like they're buzzing a little bit or a little warm. You can do these exercises most days. So if you feel so inspired to massage your feet and do a couple of the things that we did today throughout the week, go ahead and do so. Thank you for being here once again, and we'll catch you next time.